welcome to the show. Wait, Leslie Rob said what? What? Leslie Rob said what? What she said? What? Leslie Rob said what?
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Leslie Said What? I bet you guys are like, wow, it's been a while. And yes, it has, guys. It has been a while. But I promise the wait has been worth it. Okay, so as you guys know, you can always join the conversation via the comments, okay, to chime in, ask questions, whatever. We want you to join the conversation and feel free to do so. Okay, so if you guys are like, okay, what's going on today? All right, so today, rather than doing a top tips episode, I wanted to do a fun story episode. And this one is going to be with Mr. Funny himself, Mr. Christian McCartney. If you guys do not know Christian, he is hilarious. Okay, so trust me, get ready to laugh. All right, so without further ado, Christian's going to come and talk to us and share his story of being a teacher college dropout. All right, let's get ready, guys. Here he is, Mr. Christian McCartney.
What's good?
Christian.
Oh my gosh.
If you could have seen the drama behind me trying to get this stuff together. Okay, because listen, we were supposed to be live on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. But yeah, we're live on Facebook and Instagram. I mean, Facebook and YouTube, because Instagram tried to play us, Christian.
Can't do that.
Wouldn't let me in. I tried everything I could. They wouldn't let me go live. So yeah, so what we got comments already. Love your thanks, Sue. She loves my nails, Christian.
Oh, nice.
They're sparkly.
Very nice. Very colorful.
Oh man. Well, thank you. I think it's Micah or Mika. Thank you so much for watching. We're glad you're here. Okay, Christian. All right. So introduce yourself. Who is Christian McCartney?
Christian McCartney. Actually, that's my alter ego. That's just a character I play on stage. My real name is Seamus, and I am no, I'm being so serious.
Is it really?
No. What? No.
I'm the most gullible person on earth, I promise.
Sorry.
So I would have believed you. I'm like, oh, okay, whoops, I mispronounced his name. It's actually Seamus.
Seamus was going to be my name, and I kind of wish it was. Could you imagine my name being Seamus McCartney and then seeing me after here? I think that'd be so cool.
That would be hilarious. And your dad says, hey.
Crispy.
Crispy.
Yep.
The poor guy. I didn't even know his name was Dennis until just now. I always thought his name was Crispy. Because that's what you always call him.
We got it legally changed. It's on his birth certificate now. On his identification. The bank knows him as Crispy. Okay, hi, Dad.
Oh my gosh, gotta love it. If you guys have not seen Christian's videos with his dad in them, you guys gotta watch them. Oh my gosh, it is hilarious.
It's so funny. I was just looking at one recently, and it said that I'm just an exact copy of my dad. My mom just gave me a little bit of a tan in my hair.
That's hilarious.
That's
but
pretty.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Have you seen your parents? Yeah, that's literally exactly what it is. Yeah. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. From Max, he says, #1 fan tuning in. Hey, Max. Dislover. Is it Dislover or Dislover?
Wait.
Yeah, Max from CTA.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
He said, #1 fan tuning in. He said, your dad is legit, so chill.
No, he's not. Not in real life.
Hi to most know Luca week. Okay, that's interesting.
Most know Luca week.
And Max said it's long O, so it's Max Dislover. Okay, we got you, Max. We got you.
Fancy.
Okay, he's very fancy with it. Oh. Okay, now Christian. All right, what made you want to become a teacher?
Everybody told me I was going to be a teacher. Seriously, I'm not even joking. Like from the time I was, I guess, first grade, second grade, I was really good with kids. I know I was still a kid at that point, but if there was ever somebody younger than me, they were always hanging around me if there was a big group of people.
Aww.
And because I was always good with kids, everybody said, you're going to be a teacher. And I was like, okay.
You're like, well,
I guess so. And I worked at a daycare for a little bit. I was a trash teacher. I couldn't teach the kids squat. I could entertain them, and literally my job at the daycare became I went from, like, being a teacher's aide to the janitor to a story
What?
I know, to a storyteller. I would go from classroom to classroom during lunch, and, I would tell the kids stories. Like, I would make them up about them in the moment. Some of them were scary, and, I
Not
definitely
creepy at all.
it was so bad, Leslie. The kids, like, wouldn't be able to go to sleep at nap time because 'cause they're like, "But his story's keeping me awake." It was so bad. I know, I know.
Oh my god! So you weren't kidding. You were like, no, literally, I was a trash teacher.
No,
Like,
I was so bad. And it wasn't like I was trying to be a bad teacher because
no,
I was
you were
with
like,
kids, but it was just
yeah, you were trying to have fun with the kids. You just maybe a different kind of
I was like, "Oh, wait, you guys are only 5 years old? Maybe I shouldn't be referencing Freddy Krueger before nap time."
Yeah, not at all, Christian. Not at all. Oh my gosh, I'm sure their teacher was so ecstatic with you.
Definitely not, but but
No.
that's what I did wanna work with kids, so it wasn't like I was just told to. I did a part of me wanted to be there.
Yeah, no, I get that. I
Yeah,
get that. Well, cool.
yeah.
Okay, so what grade level were you gonna teach if you were gonna teach?
Kindergarten and preschool.
Wow.
That's 2. I
No,
mean
but hey,
okay.
it's all in the same genre.
Yes.
Preschool and then kindergarten. So I mean, it's the same genre
Yes.
ish.
Agreed.
Agreed,
If
agreed.
if they poop their pants, that's where I was gonna be working.
See,
'Cau
there you go. Both those grade levels.
both. The kids at the, daycare that I worked at, they had me there for summer camp, like, with kindergartners, and then during the actual school year, it would be with preschoolers. They the parents it was funny because I worked at the daycare for a while, and, like, I've always been with babies, like, my whole life,
Yeah.
but the parents would get so nervous when giving their babies to me, like, dropping them off at school, because they were like, "Oh, he's a man, he doesn't know how to hold a baby," like, I was gonna pick it up by its
By the
head.
head.
Yeah, what? Like, I know how to hold a baby.
Yeah, you're like, listen, give me that much. I know how to hold the child.
Dang on. It's like I'm gonna treat it like
Oh,
a boomerang or something. No, the teacher or the parents, they were always some of the parents were really, really cool, but then some
yeah.
of them, just because I was a guy, they were like, "No, I don't want you."
They were
Care
just apprehensive because the kids were so little?
Yep,
Yeah.
the, kids at least for that part of the preschool, like, for the I'm sorry, that was, like, nursery.
Yeah.
In
Oh, yeah, for
preschool,
sure.
kindergarten, they were fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because usually when they get to that like kindergarten age group, they kind of almost think of you as like a big brother. So it's like it really works.
Yeah, there is no respect whatsoever, and I don't know, like, are you good at taking control of your classroom? Like, do the kids listen to you?
Absolutely. I wish I thought. Like my kids know I love them to death, but they know not to play with me. Okay. No, 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 no. They know not to play with me.
And that's good. That's what a good teacher should be able to do. The kids would, like, crawl all over me, and I don't know if I at one point, I thought it was just because I was a young dude that they just
Yeah.
figured, "Oh, he's like a gym teacher, we're just gonna crawl over and do whatever we want." But, like, as soon as the female teachers, who were my age also, would come in, the kids would be like, um, don't do this, don't crisscross applesauce, hands in the lap." But it was like, as soon as that teacher would leave, they'd start flinging food and doing wild, and I couldn't. I would try to be like, "No, stop." And they would think I would be doing a character or a voice or something, and they would just start laughing at me. But so the teachers would walk by, they would see the kids laughing and stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, Christian's doing
Look,
so
I am doing so well with the children. When actuality, you're like, help.
yeah." Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny. Did you now like so when you actually got to work with that great age group, did you find that you actually did like it? Like, was that something that you
Oh,
preferred?
yeah, I think kids that young, I'm just so interested in their minds, how creative kids are, like, the stuff that they just say out of nowhere. I mean, it's, 1, hilarious, and it's impressive almost. Because I mean, once you start hanging out with adults more, you realize how boring some adults can be. That's why I
Yeah.
like you so much, because you have like that childlike spirit, you know what I mean? Where you're just
I'm so
creating.
immature.
Exactly.
That's what Christian loves about me, guys, is I'm just so immature. And I love it. I will never be mature. You hear me? You know that like old school, was it Toys R Us thing? Like I don't want to grow up.
Yeah.
Legit. I will never grow up.
You
It's
wanna
more
do it.
fun. Am I me?
So much fun. And that's what I appreciated about them. Just like playing games with them. It was easier for me to talk to kids than it was adults, because like the stuff that you can say whatever you want to kids and they either think it's funny. But when you have like a serious conversation with a kid, it almost feels, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so interesting that when you can mentally have a conversation with a kid, but it's not goofy, it's not weird, but you guys
Mhm.
were both actually there.
Yeah,
It's so weird because you're like,
it
oh, you're a
is.
real person.
Right.
You know what I
Now
mean?
I have some kids that are more mature than I will ever be. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, I teach high school. And so yeah, the majority of my students are a bit more mature than me. And so they're like, Miss Rob, like, really? I'm like, I mean, that's just who I am. You know? Could you have ever worked with middle school or high school?
No. I've never never. I don't know how you do that.
You're definitely a kindergarten teacher, huh?
100%. Which is crazy because you seem like a kindergarten teacher. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
seem
used to.
fun, and I can't imagine, like, being in high school. If I were to have a teacher like you, we would have been best friends.
That's how I am with my kids.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that's how I am with my kids. Like, I love my kids.
Yeah.
Oh my! Oh, this is the teacher across the hall, Miss Wood. Leslie's an. Oh, thank you, Miss Wood. I just so happened to put that comment on the screen. I didn't do it on purpose at all. Oh my gosh! Yes, I love my kids, and that's the best part about it, Christian. You're right. Like, it's almost like me and my students, and I use the word friends lightly because some teachers are like, they're not your friends, they're your students. I say it's a mix of both, a healthy balance of both, in my opinion. That's just me. Now, it's funny that you said that you thought I taught kindergarten because I did used to teach kindergarten, okay? But then them churn be tripping, and then Miss Rob can't handle that. Okay, so yeah, no, we're not doing that no more. Yes, okay, and you're right. Kids tell you like it is. You want to be insulted and know what you really look like? Ask a kid. Legit.
I love your bit. I'm not gonna say it.
Oh,
I love your bit about what the kid told you when you reached up. I love
that's how they are, though. They'll tell you literally like it is. They're like, listen, Miss Rob, okay, I tell people all the time, if you want to know what you look like in that dress, ask the kid. And you ain't even got to ask them because they're going to volunteer their opinion on your outfit, whether you want them to or not. I'm just saying.
True.
Okay?
True.
Just saying. Oh my gosh.
When I was when I was in high school, we had a childcare class, and the childcare teacher, she was my favorite. Her name was Mrs. Hauser. She's awesome. She was so funny. There were 3 classes, childcare 1, 2, and 3. And in the 3rd class, you actually had kids come into the high school, and it was like a daycare for them. So
oh yeah, that's what I used to teach.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So our freshman and sophomore year of high school, I actually think my freshman year, somehow I got into childcare 3 before I even took the second childcare. So I was,
here you go, Christian.
Yeah,
mercy in there.
You just shovel me in. There was no other guys in the class, and there was one boy in the class. His name was Michael, and he's older now, but like our families are close. When we see each other, it's like oh, hey, Michael. And it's weird because when he was in that class, he was maybe 3 or 4, and one day he pooped his pants in class. I was a freshman in high school.
No.
It made me change his pants.
You're like, fatherhood, unexpected.
Right?
You're like, this is not what I thought I signed up for.
I did not know I was going to be changing diapers before geometry class. You know what I mean? But that's literally what happened. And It was because I was the only dude in the class. They were like, "Oh, we're not gonna send girls in there with him." And I was like, "Okay." So I went in there, and he barely spoke at the time. So I was like, "Michael, did you poop your pants?" And he was like,
You're like, I smell it. I know.
"Yeah." I was like, "I can see it, Michael. I can see it dripping down your leg."
You
So
sure you didn't poop your pants?
and so cleaned him up. But now that he's older, he's probably at least like 10 now. And we see each other. We'll actually see each other soon because he comes to our church's Trunkapalooza and we get a picture together every year. And it's so cool because he didn't speak then, but now he like has a personality and he
He didn't have a personality when he was 5, but now he has a personality.
now he's got one. That's what's always freaked me out about like watching kids grow up, seeing them when they are that young, and then watching what they're like in middle school or high school. It's like, ugh.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's weird having conversations with them because it's like I remember when you were just a blob.
Like
You were
legit.
Yeah, you were just here, and I was pretty much doing everything for you except breathing. So it's
You're
so
like, so now it's like, what?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm with you.
Oh my god.
Allykins, thanks for
Aw,
watching.
thank you.
Well, thank you, Christian. She said we both are hysterical.
Fantastic.
Like you could tell a comedian that you love them, and it would not feel the same as you telling us that we are funny.
Very true. Very true.
I'm just saying. But yeah, no, Christian. So you said now he's older
Yep.
and he's like got personality and everything, huh?
Yep. So we have conversations, and I've told him multiple times, I'm like, dude, I changed your diaper. And now it's to a point where he's like, I know you don't have to bring it up every time I see you. So like we have dialogue, you know what I mean?
So you're like, oh, man.
He's so cool. He thought he was Michael Jackson when he was in that class because because his name was Michael, and we used to call him Michael Jackson. And then the next class would come in after us, and they would tell me like at lunch, like, no, this kid really thinks he's Michael Jackson. And I would play dumb. I'd be like, no way. Really? Knowing we were the ones that told him he was Michael Jackson.
That is so.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's just like one of the other teachers had posted not too long ago and said that the kid in her class legit thinks that he's Spider-Man.
Oh,
So literally, if he gets in a fight, he's like,
oh God.
hilarious. And I think Kevin Hart even tells a joke like that. So it's funny how kids take on those character roles and actually think that they have those powers.
Exactly.
It's hilarious.
It's hilarious, and it's beautiful that creativity and that dedication. That's what I think so many adults forget. Like, it's okay to have an imagination.
Yeah.
And that's what makes kids amazing.
And stop being boring. Oh my gosh, some adults are too adult.
Too adult.
Too adult. And it's not fun. I'm like, shut
Not
up.
at all.
Like, laugh a little.
Right.
Like, I mean, come on. So, Christian, tell me, what made you want to shift from teacher to comedian?
So I went to college.
Oh, hold on. Your dad said you used to think that you were Spider-Man too. He said, tell her.
I did.
You
I wrote it.
So while I'm sitting here talking about other kids, Christian, you didn't even try to throw that in there.
No. I was like, yeah, those are crazy kids, aren't they? Actually believing that?
Oh my gosh, that's so silly.
Honestly, I still believe that the government has a serum that could turn people into Spider-Man, and I am hoping that they choose me as a candidate. Why'd you put the comment back up?
I have to put it back up here because further confirms your dad is 100% right. You are like, you tried to say it like in an adult-like fashion that there's a serum with the government and the government is, but actually I really do still think I'm Spider-Man. That's kind of what you just did. That's kind of what you just did, Christian.
That's exactly what I just did. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. Your dad's awesome.
I think for my 18th birthday, they got me a Spider-Man suit.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
And I have a Spider-Man backpack that has my mask in it. And we were just recently on a trip for a show, and I brought that backpack with me, forgetting that it was in there. and I found it, and it was literally felt for a minute. I was like, oh wait, I can't tell anybody, and I felt like I was actually Spider-Man for a minute. I was like, they don't know what's in this.
Nobody knows that I'm secretly Spider-Man, and it's in my back. Wow, Christian. Wow. Your dad just opened up a whole can of worms. Like legit, he just exposed you. He exposed your identity as Spider-Man.
Oh, crispy. But
leave it to dad, right?
Literally,
oh my gosh.
Crispy has he's actually a big part of what got me into social media and comedy in general. So shift from being a teacher to a comedian. I was going to school for education, early childhood education. I was there for maybe a semester and a half.
Uh-huh.
But when I went in, I was dedicated. I was like, I am here to become a teacher. I'm excited about it.
I'm gonna be a teacher.
I'm gonna be a teacher. And I would do all my I would do all my classwork because my parents have always been very big on paying attention in class and doing your grades. Like a lot of people think just because I'm goofy, I didn't pay attention in class. Not at all. I was always front row in class, paying attention, taking notes, because I just thought grades were the end all be all to who you become as an adult. So
I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I was like, I have to pay attention. I have to do this. But it wasn't bad. I appreciate it now because I think it gave me a work ethic to do stuff that I don't want to do, even though I have to do it.
Yeah, you know I get that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because so many kids, my wife and I, we volunteer at the youth center in our hometown sometimes. And I tell the kids, I'm like, just do the work. Even if you don't want to, if you don't think you're going to be using it in the future, just do it. And your teacher will like you. Like, I don't think I had one teacher throughout high school that didn't like me, but it wasn't like it was because we were close friends. It's literally just because I did the work.
Right. No, that makes complete sense. And people don't understand it. That's literally all it takes is you getting the work done. Yeah.
Do the work.
Just do the work. Do it. But nowadays you can't even pay kids to do work, bro. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
Like you can't even it's like pulling teeth. I'm just saying.
That's insane.
The struggle is real. And you have kids who is they're like, wait, how many points is this? I'm like, well, it's gonna be 0. And then they'll calculate to see if it's actually gonna make them fail or not. They're like, this ain't enough to make me fail, so I'm out. So they just
my gosh. So they do the work to find out how little work they have to do.
Exactly. It's ridiculous. Because they're like, well, if technically I do 50% of this and I get a 50, and then I put this one with this one, then I calculate it. It technically is still not failing. It's a 60 and I'm a pass. Mm-hmm. So I have kids who know exactly how much work they actually have to do, and they won't do any more than that.
Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
That is so sad.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Frazier says, hey, Miss Leslie, I'll be watching your videos while I be at work on lunch break while grading. Aw, thanks, Mr. Wheeler. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh, thanks for watching. But yeah, Christian, I'm serious. You would be surprised at the kids who calculate the minimum amount of work they got to do to pass. And that's all they're going to do. They ain't doing more and they ain't doing less.
That is insane.
Well, actually, they'll do less. But, you know what I mean?
They'll do.
But what brought you to social media, Christian?
Social media was after, so I dropped out of college because I felt, no joke, I didn't have a serious relationship with Christ. And like my whole life, I was raised in church, but I was very lukewarm. I would just say I was a Christian, but then literally nothing in my life reflected it.
Yeah.
So when I was in college, I felt like God was calling me to do comedy because I'd go to class, but then I would come home in my dorm and I would just watch videos, how to write jokes, what are formulas, like what's the science behind why people laugh. And I was so interested in that. And I prayed, I was like, Lord, I know I don't talk to you a lot, but like, I feel like you're calling me to do comedy. And if you're calling me to do it, I want to know you personally enough to where I'd be able to hear your voice.
Yeah.
If you're calling me, I need to know who's calling.
Yeah, you're like, I need to, hey, clear, make it clear.
Caller ID, please.
Legit.
So I prayed. I said, Lord, give me a sign if you want me to do comedy. And one day my education professor stopped in the middle of the lecture and she said, listen, not all of you are going to be teachers. She said, some of you are going to be nurses, firefighters, engineers. And she says, who knows, one of you may even be a comedian. And when
Shut up.
I'm so serious. I get chills every time I tell that story, just because when it happened in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, God just gave me the clearest sign I've ever been given.
For sure.
Dropped out immediately.
You're like, yeah, I get to drop out of college, and Jesus said I could.
Yep. And
Funny. That's hilarious.
My parents were not happy.
I'm sure.
Especially Crispy. Crispy and I talk to each other all the time. And when I had dropped out, we didn't talk to each other for a couple of days. And that had never happened before. So at one point I was like, all right, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? But then like God just kept reminding me, if I tell you to do something, it's not going to make sense to everybody.
True.
I'm telling you, you listen to me, everything else will fall into place. And that's exactly what happened. Crispy made me do social media. I just wanted to do stand-up. Literally, I told Crispy, I said, I want to do it the old-fashioned way. Go grind in the clubs or do whatever, and then just do it that way. But he said, you need to have social media nowadays. And I was like, fine. So Crispy is the reason that, no joke, anybody watches videos that I post or follows. It's because
you guys have got, like, literally, if you don't already follow Christian, you guys have to follow him. He's like, I'm not gonna, I know I hate doing this too. However many follows he has on TikTok, I think it's like 6 million or something like that at this point.
5.4.
5.4 million on TikTok, and then on Instagram it's
753,000.
I know. Don't you hate it? Like when people say, but I'm just want people to know who you are. Yeah. So like literally, guys, an insane amount of followers on these platforms. So because he's freaking funny. Okay. He's a black, would they say a black Jim Carrey?
Yep. That's what they, and I don't even understand. I mean, that's the biggest compliment. Biggest compliment by far is getting that I remind people of Jim Carrey. Because he's my favorite comedian.
Yeah.
And that was another prayer. When I was younger, I used to pray that I would be Jim Carrey when I was older. And I think there's something so special about kids and their hearts and their minds. I mean, the Bible is very clear. Blessed are the pure in spirit. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Yeah. I think God reveals stuff to kids about what they want to do when they're older. And it's just a matter of submitting to his will, because I wanted to be doing this when I was younger. I didn't know I was going.
That is awesome.
So, yeah.
I love that.
It's wild.
I love that. And it's crazy that that's what you grew up to be. Very few kids say they're going to grow up to be something and actually be it. So that's fantastic. Yeah. Now, Christian, even though you're not teaching anymore and you are doing comedy, you still welcome the opportunity to speak to students. So what does that look like? Tell us about that.
I've actually been able to do stand-up at my old school. And that was a huge blessing, because like the middle school that I went to, I was able to perform for their last year, and then the high school as well. So doing stand-up anywhere is always so much fun, especially for kids, because I feel like sometimes people just forget that kids also enjoy to laugh at stand-up specifically. But recently, very big opportunity, huge blessing. I was able to just come talk to students about encouraging them with their futures. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool. It was like 4 assemblies in one day, I think. And it was just for like the different grades. And I went in there, had some stuff planned to say. And then the teacher was like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So
wrong person to tell that to.
Right. So I just did Q&A with the kids, and
that's awesome.
It was so cool, because then they were able to, I feel like it feels less structured when you're just able to talk to them, especially if they ask you a question that you already had a prepared answer for.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can answer that one.
Definitely. Yeah. But it was a big blessing. It was at a public school, and I mean, I'm very open about my faith, because I just told you my testimony, how I got into comedy.
Yeah.
Without God, I wouldn't be here, and I'm very open with that. The teacher, after the first assembly, she pulled me to the side. She's like, Christian, I am also a Christian, and I would never tell you to not talk about God. She said, but only do it if the kids ask. She said,
Yes, that's the secret.
yeah, you can't bring it up. If they bring it
Uh-uh.
up, then you can do it. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay. So actually for like the second and third and fourth assembly, she kind of poked the kids to be like, so Christian, how did you get started in comedy?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So it was
That's cool.
just getting to encourage the kids that the gifts that God has blessed them with, it's a gift when God gave them a gift. It's their gift back to God, how they use it.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know what's something I heard recently that they kind of slapped me across the face with? Not really, not physically, because you know I don't play that, but what somebody said recently is that like the fact that you think like the days that you're like I'm done, I can't do this anymore. When it comes to your gift, you're like I'm done, I can't do this anymore. Is the days that you need to remember that it's not for you, and it wasn't for you, and it's not yours to stop. It's the one that God has given you. So that's amazing that you said that.
That's so true.
Yeah, it's like I was like, man, I'm tired. Like, especially you know how it is in comedy when you're like hustling and grinding and videos and a struggle
Oh my
is
God.
real. But yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
So,
oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just read today in Matthew, it was about the talents when Jesus was talking about how the kingdom of heaven is like a man who owns a vineyard or like owns a bunch of land, and he gives these essentially gifts to people.
Yeah.
And then if they don't go and use the gift, then he's like, I gave you all the, why didn't you use what I gave you? And that's like, I think that leads right into whatever this last question could possibly be.
Well, hold on before you do that, because do you ever also, when it comes down to that, even though you're like, I know he gifted me and I know I should be happy in whatever area he has me in, but then like when you start to like kind of measure what success is supposed to look like versus what it's looking like, and you're like, but I'm doing what you said, Jesus, how come I'm not succeeding? I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So, you know, also finding that level of contentment in it.
Yeah.
No matter how small it is.
Exactly.
In comparison to other people too, which can also be dangerous.
It's so nasty, and it's so easy to compare, but I mean, that's what my parents have always like told us, all my siblings growing up. They're like, be yourself no matter what, because no one else is going to be able to be you, and the more you are yourself, the people who are supposed to be around you will come around you, instead
100%.
of you like trying to conform to be like, oh, I want these people to like me, so I'm going to be like this.
That's what I've been guilty of that for years. I can acclimate to anybody. Now, also that also came from a background of being bullied. So like wanting to fit in and be accepted. So I can automatically shift my personality and who I am to fit whoever, because I want to fit in. I want to be popular. But I had to learn the hard way that is not going to be lasting. It is so toxic, number one, but it's also exhausting to try to be anybody but yourself. You can't keep it up. You can't maintain it.
No.
You have to be yourself. And some people are like, you're too silly or you're too this and the other. Well, apparently too silly is what God called me to be. So I don't know what else to do with that. No, I love how you said that. And your parents are 100% right. Like, always be who you are. Like, everybody else is taken. Like, so
exactly. There was
nobody can be you.
Yeah. It's insane how many people get bullied. And I mean, obviously, like when you were growing up, when I was growing up, kids nowadays, bullying's it's always going to be around, but it's just weird how it changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I tell people all the time now, Christian, if I was being bullied in today's school, like I see my students and literally these kids battle such anxiety and depression because of the results of bullying, but their level of bullying is so different from my level of bullying. When I was bullied, I could at least get home at some point and get away. These kids carry their bullies with them in their pocket. You know what I mean? Like their bullies are always with them. Like I could not. I was already suicidal. I probably would have been out. I'm just
it's so sad.
Yeah.
So sad. When I was younger, I love dressing up, like just to be characters and stuff.
Yeah.
And so for my whole life, everybody thought that I was gay. Literally until I was in college, people still thought that I was gay. I was like, I have a girlfriend. We've been
She's
together.
real, I promise.
You're like, oh, she go to this school? I'm like, no, she doesn't, but she's real.
Oh no, Christian, that made it worse.
But she really didn't go to the school. That was the
Go to
truth.
your school or anything. So they're like, oh, it's okay. He's making it up, but we'll just go with it.
Gosh, it's insane. The people put stuff on you so much, and they'll tell you this is what you're supposed to be. This is that's exactly what people had. People thought I was a girl when I was younger, and it used to make me really, really mad and really sad, just because I mean, like, no one ever wants to be called something that they're not. But now and we've both done this within our comedy, and a lot of comedians do it. I mean, every comedian does it. They turn their trauma into a joke, into a triumph, and those jokes always hit the hardest.
Yeah, they do,
and
because they're true.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's beautiful to watch God do that stuff, especially like stuff you used to cry about, and now other people are crying about it, but it's from laughing so hard.
Yes, that's so good.
That's
and
wild.
So true. And you know what? Like, even like, I love how you said that, because I'm often telling people, like, he will take your pain and use it to enhance your purpose. And so what's crazy for me is, even though, like I told you, I can adapt to an audience really easily because of the fact that when I was trying to get in with my bullies and I could fit my bullies and adapt to my bullies, I was able to shift my personality. Well, that helps on stage, because if a joke isn't landing, I can shift myself quickly to make it fix and make it work. So, I mean, it's crazy how something that was a coping and a survival skill is now part of my, purpose. So,
yeah, it's so cool how God prepares us for exactly what he has planned for us.
Exactly. Yeah. So, but so Christian, last question. I'm going to leave you be. Any encouragement for the kids who watch you and look up to you?
Yes. Anybody you see on social media who made you cry, but I'll talk to their parents.
Your dad said, who made you cry, bud? I'll talk to their parents.
It was you, Crispy. You made me cry.
Oh, poor Crispy.
Oh my gosh. Encouragement for the kids. The people you see on social media are not perfect. They are not any more special than you are. We are all special in God's eyes. And don't put people on a pedestal, because then when it comes out that they're not perfect, when you're torn to shreds and you're like, oh, well, I've built my whole life around knowing that they're who I look up to, no human is going to be able to fulfill that except Jesus. And the people that you look up to, who you want to be like, you should be looking up to somebody perfect. Because when you emulate somebody perfect, there's only one who it is, and it's Jesus. And Jesus knows exactly who you are. There's so much stigma about, I have to go into the world and find who I am by trying a bunch of different stuff, smoking this, drinking that. That's not the truth. God knew who you were when you were in your mother's womb. He knit your personality together. If you want to know who you're meant to be, seek the Lord, and he will tell you clear as day. Even if it is through a college professor, he will make sure that you hear who you are supposed to be.
That he will. I love that. And the thing that really gets me is a lot of my students, all of them, Christian, like when I showed them, like I said, Guthrie's going to be on my podcast, and I showed them a picture. They're like, oh my God, I love him. And the thing is like those kids aspire to be in your shoes, and I'm not talking about in your shoes as like a God-fearing Christian who's doing Christian. Anyway, I'm a child. I'm so immature. Anyway, so like they're not looking at you and saying, hey, I want to be God-fearing. I want to be Christian. They want you, that following that you have, like the however many 5 million whatever followers that you have. They want that life, and they want to be admired and approved and accepted.
Mhm.
And it's scary because a lot of my students' career projects are all based on they want to be famous TikTokers, famous YouTubers.
Wow.
That is the goal. Like, it's no more like, hey, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a fireman, I'm going to be whatever. The majority of my career projects are I'm going to be a social media star, whether it's TikTok or YouTube. And some of the kids will see even just, and I know I shouldn't, but I'm just saying, like, my following to me is smaller. So my students are like, Mitch Rob, you should just quit and you could be a YouTuber. Like, why would you even work a job? And I'm like, that's not reality. But to them, that is the goal. That is like what makes you somebody, is to have that type of following. So it's so good that you reminded them that that's not what it's about.
No. And if you do worship numbers, if you worship a following, you are going to be highly disappointed when you get that following and your life is exactly the same or worse, because now you have a lot of people watching everything you do and you have to be really on your P's and Q's. And if you're not, then you get in much more trouble than if you weren't. It's like in the church with like leaders. Leaders are held to a completely different standard than a congregation of a church. So many people want to have that stature, but they don't want the responsibility or risk that it comes with.
And I'm guilty of that myself. I'm always like, oh, well, why don't I have more followers? Or this person has more followers than me. And I end up getting to a point where it becomes so toxic in my mind that I become obsessed with that number and wanting it to grow. And like, why not? Why isn't it not growing? And blah, 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 blah. Or, oh, if I would have started during the pandemic, or if I would have done this, or I would, you know, you get into these modes where it's like, but no, like, I had to be reminded recently that you are where God wants you to be. Like, if you haven't missed anything. Like, if you were supposed to be here, then you would be here. And if you didn't, you didn't. Like, and a lot of times we blame ourselves with like, oh, you know, it's the consequences of my actions. God knows what he's doing regardless, even despite us. So
that is perfectly said.
Yes. And Crispy agrees. He says amen. And he did say that the person who made you cry, he knows it was your mother.
Oh my gosh. She wouldn't make me cry about it. But my mom did always tell me I would be a pretty girl. Literally my whole life, she always told me that.
I'm sorry. That is hilarious. Oh my gosh. Oh, two amazing comedians here. Funny. Oh, thank you, Deborah, for watching.
Appreciate you.
Oh my gosh. Yes, Christian. Oh my gosh, Christian. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. We have got to do this again in some type of context.
I know.
Oh my gosh. If we could do this with my students, bruh, they would die. We got to get you.
Yes.
You have to come down.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I think at one point we were trying, it just didn't work out.
You should come talk to my kids. Oh my gosh. We got to book it.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Wood agrees. She already loves it. Oh my gosh. Yes, that would be fantastic. They would love it. And they need to hear what you have to say. Because trust me, like, especially during our career project times when all of them are putting TikTok and whatever, you'd be like, look, I can be the person to show you that it's not, even when you get there, it's not what's, you know, so.
Yeah.
And also I want to encourage people, if you're in the San Antonio, Texas area, to go see my boy on November 23rd. I'm trying to fly down to see you. I was gonna surprise you. Cool. I was trying to surprise you, but I think I'm trying because that's the only, like, one of the only weekends I am free in November.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, I gotta go see it. So if you're in the San Antonio, Texas area, you guys have got to go see Christian film his first special. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you, Leslie.
Boy. Okay, so guys, if you don't already do so, follow Christian at Real Christian McCartney on all social media platforms. If you want to book him for your classroom or school, let's do school. Classroom is a bit small. Let's do the school. If your school would like to bring in Christian to speak to your youth, www.mrmccartney.com, guys. I encourage you guys to go and seek out Christian. But also, if you think a friend, family member, foe, whatever, would love this podcast episode, definitely share with them that the audio version will be available on all podcast channels and LeslieSaidWhat.com tomorrow, and that they can watch the video version on Facebook immediately or on YouTube immediately. So yes, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Christian, for being here. And Christian, we are going to say goodbye. Any last words, Christian? Any last words?
Leslie, I appreciate you so much. The second you texted me asking me to be on this podcast, I tried my best to respond within the minute just because I knew we would have a fun time. And I love talking to you. I love hanging out. Thank you so much for having
me. Same. We have to get you back on again.
Definitely.
Well, thank you again, Christian.
See ya.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode as much as I did. I just love Christian. Like, he is just the best. We always have so much fun when we get together. So I knew this would be awesome. And if you guys have probably seen, if you've seen his comedy and my comedy, you know, we love the faces. Okay. So yes, we are the people of the faces. All right, guys. That's it. Leslie Said What? Season 5, episode 4 is out.
Leslie Rob Comedy.